Hey everyone, I'm Bentancourt, and today we are going to be talking about Sunam Song and some of his achievements and work he has done. And we will be talking about the portrait of Sin Sukju. Who's excited? I know I am. So let's get started. So let's talk a little about Song Sunam. He was born in 1938 and recently passed away in 2013. He grew up in South Korea. Song Sunam was a painter of Korean traditional ink paintings, which are works of art created with merely water and ink, in which ink is also used to make colors of varying ink density to produce astonishing variations in tonality. And he was one of the leaders of the Sukju, or Oriental Ink movement of the 1980s, based at Hongik University in Seoul. The whole movement was about the feeling that it was necessary to recover a national identity and begin to concentrate on some subtle tone variations of ink wash, which is an East Asian type of brush painting in Chinese origin that uses black ink in an attempt to elicit an inner spirituality, which was felt to be lost in a modern technological age. Sunam Song was the professor of the Department of Oriental Painting at Hongik University from 1975 to 2004. Song Sunam is most famous for his work of painting the summer trees. Let's take a look at it. Summer trees is what Song Sunam is most famous for. It was made in 1971 by Song Sunam with a medium of ink on paper, and it stands about 2 feet by 8 inches tall. And just by taking a quick glance at this exquisite painting, we see heavy, thick, vertical, and parallel brushstrokes, varying from black to different shades of gray. The edges of the brushstrokes that you could almost describe as feathery reveal them to be pale washes applied to a very wet paper, while the darkest appear as streaks that show both the ink and the paper were almost dry. Only a very, very practical hand can control ink with such simplicity and impact. But it is important that the title refers to the natural world. Song created summer trees in 1979, but he made at least 2 other paintings. One in 1986 called The Tree. Not until the second one he painted in 2000 did he fully embrace abstraction by leaving the work untitled. His title and even his decision to create a work in ink shows us that, though clearly addressing issues of contemporary art, Song's work is deeply rooted in tradition. Some think that the abstraction and formal qualities are the real subject of this modern-looking work. Song created many such landscapes, executed unconventionally, with and without titles. Summer trees may also reference a traditional theme. A group of pine trees can symbolize a gathering of friends of upright character. Whatever his intention with this title, Song was clearly alluding to the special world of the literati, which is a person interested in the literature of arts. Summer trees, with its allusions to friendship and balmy season, could be Song's statement of optimism in the rediscovery of traditional values recast for modern times. So let's get on to talking about Sin Sukju and his self-portrait. The portrait of Sin Sukju was created in the Joseon dynasty. It is a hanging scroll, and the medium is ink and color on silk. It was made by multiple artists in the Imperial Bureau of Painting in the 15th century, with the dimensions of 167 by 109.5 centimeters. Sin Sukju, which is the man being depicted in the portrait of Sin Sukju, was a Korean politician during the Joseon dynasty, which lasted around 5 centuries as one of the world's longest-running monarchies. Taehyeo founded Joseon on the ashes of Goryeo period, with its capital city Kaesong. Joseon established its capital in Seoul, expanding the kingdom's northernmost borders of the Yalu and Tumen rivers. Joseon became the last dynasty of Korea, the longest-lasting Confucian dynasty in history. Shortly following the declaration of the Korean Empire in 1897, the dynasty ended with the Japanese annexation in 1910. He was the prime minister from 1461 to 1466, and then again from 1471 to 1475. Sin Sukju was an accomplished polyglot, which is someone who knows many languages, which meant he was very well educated in the Chinese language. He created an accurate transcription of spoken Mandarin Chinese. He also served as a personal linguistic expert to King Sejong. It was his service to Prince Enpyong that earned Sin Sukju a significant place in art. Now that you know a little bit about Sukju, let's get to his self-portrait. Sukju is being depicted as a meritorious subject, or an official honored for his distinguished service at court and loyalty to the king during a tumultuous time. This painting will later on be cherished by their families and worshipped for generations. This portrait's main purpose was to worship and remember the person in high power, which is the case in Sukju. This kind of links to the Confucian belief about ancestral hierarchy and worshiping and paying respects to those who passed away. Even more important, the portrait served as focus for ancestral rituals after one's death. It was believed that when a person died, the soul of that person would remain among the world of the living until it gradually disappeared. These painted scrolls were most likely hung in the family shrine to guide the soul. In this way, the portrait of Sukju reflects both the honor that he brought to his lineage and the Confucius beliefs about the afterlife. He wore his official robes and a black silk hat on his head, with leather shoes on his feet. His feet rest on a lavish and intricately designed little stool, which is just one representation of status in this painting. And on his robe we can see a lavish-looking gold and silk design, which is actually a rank badge, which is another sign of status. These are exactly what the name says. The badges represent the rank or status of the official. We see on Sukju's badge there are peacocks roaming amongst plants with clouds in the sky. This indicates that he was a civic official. These badges came in sets and were worn on both the front and the back of the robe. If we look closely at his face, we can see the detail and the time the artist put into the painting to make the face as accurate as it can be. While we are looking at his face, we can see the crow's feet on the corner of his eyes, and his eyes are bright and clear. And we can see grooves around his mouth signifying wisdom and dignity. The detail of the face was very impressive during this time period. Sukju is posed in accordance to the Korean portraiture conventions, which had him seated in a full-length view. With his head turned slightly so, we are only able to see one ear. Although it may not seem like it, Sunam Song's Summer Trees and the portrait of Sukju really relate to each other because they both represent a sense of spirituality from ink work. Both of these works try to regain the spirituality of either friendship or status that may have started to disappear. Song Sunam captures spirituality through ink brush work to recall landscapes from Korean masters and scholars, much like the Joseon dynasty. Sunam Song creates the brushstrokes like a group of trees to symbolize a gathering of friends. This appeals to the ideal world of the literati. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned a little more about Song Sunam and his painting The Summer Trees and the portrait of Sukju. Bye y'all!